Okay, so now that we've got an introduction to the building, the general structure, how these things work, keeping in mind that every project is different, all design drawings are different, and every engineer and every architect sets their things up differently, let's try and jump into the structural or trying to build our model. Because for this project, we don't actually have a model, at least yet. We will do videos later on where we have a model and we can just copy things in, but we need to get started on some things quickly here before we end up getting a model because that just happens sometimes. So what we've got is we've got a what's called a uh, lift drawing template model. And let's see here if where did I put that? I think it's in here. And yep, this is our lift drawing template. It's in Revit 2020, so we have to upgrade it, but that's fine. It doesn't take very long to do that. So while this is upgrading, the thing we're going to focus on in this video is we're going to focus on uh, setting up the model and getting the things cleared out that we don't want to see in there, and then also setting up the grids and the levels. And let's see how this process is going in upgrading. Coming pretty quickly. The thing that we have to remember is that we only want to have a single lift drawing template, and so that's why we do it in Revit 2020 and then just upgrade it because it's just easier to do that rather than trying to manage 4 different templates between Revit 2020, 21, 22, 23. And then more as we get more versions of Revit that we're dealing with over time. So we generally just keep this in the oldest version of Revit that we're regularly using, or at least occasionally using. So let's jump back into this real quick here. So what we're going to do, the approach we're going to take when we're setting up the grids is that we're going to look at one of these sheets, and it looks like these overall sheets don't have any grid-to-grid dimensions on them, but we are getting those dimensions on these kind of blown-up plan views, the ones that are looking closer. And the way we want to approach this is we want to do it with the architectural drawings, and then check it with the structural drawings and make sure that they're correct. Yeah, looks like that. Yeah, that's fine. So first things first, we're going to call this, we're going to just put in, so this is, let's, I'm not sure the client name on this, but we're going to say Revit 2023. And the project was called, I believe, University Park Apartments or University Park. Let's see, what do they say? They say Modera University Park. Okay. Modera University Park. And this is just the what do you call it? The open and close view. It's where we start. It's just meant to be kind of some consistent information here. So what I want us to do, first of all, let's open up this view and our 3D view, and we can see what elements have already been modeled. Um, and there's some different things in here. There's a core wall. There's various other things, all that type of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of this. It's in here just as sample, but then the other thing that I want to make sure that I do is make sure that we unhide anything, if there's any hidden elements. So if we say unhide in view and it looks like this elements thing here is grayed out, it means there's nothing that's hidden right now. Then what I want to make sure that I do is I come into our model categories and I select everything, and then I click on and click off, and this way I can quickly make sure that all of the elements are checked so that nothing is getting hidden. And then we're just going to come in, select everything, and then filter out any, let's see, we're going to filter, and by the way, we want to say make sure parts, okay, we're showing both parts, everything. So we want to filter out, in this case, just any levels here, because the rest of these parts, columns, foundations, framing, walls, generic models, floors, doors, we don't need any of that. Let's just go ahead, delete that right now. Okay. You know what? And while we're at it, why don't we go ahead? Actually, no, let's focus on getting these grids set up first. So I'm going to come into the level 1 working view, and again, I'm going to come in and just delete these elevations and sections and things like that. I find that they tend to just get in the way. So now I can look at the architectural drawings, and I can see, okay, we're going P1, P2, P3, P4, so on, in the east-west direction, and then PA through PF in the north-south direction. So generally what I like to do is, if there's a major difference in the number of grids, I like to do the one with fewer grids first, just because then they get done. And so thankfully, we can see that we've already got it set up where the horizontal grids are the A, B, C, and the vertical grids are 1, 2, 3. But we do want to make sure that we come back in and we get the grid names to be the exact same. PA, PB, PC. And then let's leave that for now. And then we want to say, okay, PA to PB is 16 foot, then 29 foot 6 from PB to PC, right? We said 16 feet, and then 29 foot 6 to the next one. 29, 6. All right. Now we can come down and we can say, okay, what's our next one? We've got 29 foot, 29, 6, and 15 foot down, all the way down to PF. So 29 foot, 29, 6, and 15 foot. So this is going to be PD, PE, and PF. PE, PF. All right, so we've got all of those in here now. And then we've got these P1, P2, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and actually drag these down, because it's going to have to come down anyway. So these are going to be P1, P2, P3. And let's get these going in the right direction. Now, what I'm going to do, though, rather than going back and forth on one screen, is I have two screens set up here. And really, when you're doing this type of stuff, you need two screens to be there, because you need to quickly go back and forth between these sorts of things. So 16.6, 25.9, 27. 16.6, 25.9, 27. It's the only way I can, let's see. Oops. 16.6, 25 foot 9, right? And then we're going to go 27 to be for P4, right? And thankfully, now it's going to be copying these things around, right? P4. And then it looks like what we've got is we've got a bunch of them going along at 27 up until we get to P9. So this is the nice thing. When you've got these bigger buildings, something to really pay attention to is, all right, how often are we getting these sort of repeating dimensions? So rather than just saying, oh, 27, going back and forth between the PDF and the plan view, I'm just going to say, okay, all right, I know that these are going to be at 27. And I also know that because it's constant 27, I can actually reference from P3 to make it easier rather than having to type in 27 every single time. P6, P7, P8, and P9. Okay. Now, let's go to our next sheet here. Let's see if it has, thankfully it does do all these grids all the way up to P19. And again, what we're seeing here is from P9 to P10, it doesn't actually tell us, it looks like. Right? Okay. Is there any other information on these sheets where they might tell us something? And I'm not seeing anything here. Right? See, we see P9 on this area A, but we're not seeing it on area B. So where might we be able to find that? Maybe it's on another one of these sheets. Maybe. I don't really see anything here. Usually they'll only put those dimensions on the bottom or on the first sheets. And it looks like it may not even be in here. So maybe structural has that sort of information for us. Let's take a quick look here. So P1, they show 27, but they're not showing the same information on P10. Maybe could there be information on one of these other sheets here? No, I don't see anything here. That's a little annoying, but at the same time, not really a big deal. Something we can figure out, and honestly, something that's probably going to be pretty straightforward as it is. But hey, look, we can look at structures, and thankfully, structural engineers have saved us in this regard, and they've showed us that between P9 and P10, it's 27 foot, which does make sense. All right, so let's copy one over, make P10 27 feet. All right. Now, we should come through. We're going to dimension all of these. And then what we're going to do is once we've got these dimensioned, we're going to check it with the structural drawings. Okay. So now we can see P10 to P11, 18 foot 6. Looks like these dimensions are getting a little bit less consistent. So 18 foot 6, actually, excuse me, we should be doing this with architecture. So yeah, 18.6 and 26.9 and then 27.3. So 18.6, oops, I accidentally did that wrong. So thankfully, easy enough to correct. All I got to do is click on this, 18 foot 6. Mistakes happen, but that's why we were able to correct them. 26.9, 27.3. 6.9 and 27.3. And that should get us to P13, right? P13. And then from P13 all the way over to P17, it's 27 foot 0. So copy one over, do 27, and then we think we said all the way to P17. Do the things that make your life easier. And then 29.10 and 16.6 to get us to P17, or sorry, to P18 and P19. Let me check that again, 29.10, 16.6. Sometimes I have to check things a few times. 29.10 and 16.6. All right, so let me put all these dimensions in here. And this is a great time where, especially having the two screens helps. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to compare it between structural as well. But for the purposes of this training video, let's take a quick look at this. Generally, I like to just kind of go back from where I finished, and so that because essentially I'm already there. So let's just go back the other direction. So we're saying 16.6, 29.10, 16.6, 29.10, and then I've got 27 from P17 to P13, 27, 27, 27, 27, and then 27.3, 26.9, 18 foot 6. 27.3, 26.9, 18 foot 6. And then from P10, we already know that one's 27. So P10 to all the way to P3 is supposed to be 27. 27, all those are all 27, all the way to P3. And then we have 25.9, 16 foot 6. Hey, looks like they did a good job coordinating. Let's check the other ones as well. 16, 29 foot and 29 foot 6, 16, 29 foot 6, 29, 29 foot 6 and 15, 29, 29 foot 6 and 15. So our grids are coordinated between architecture and structure. We can take these ones and drag them all the way over here. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to cut our sections, or we need to check our elevations. So I tend to cut a big section across here. It's like that. You can see how it's not exactly centered in the way that we want it to. So we can cut a section that's like this, first of all. Then I also like to cut a section in the other direction because remember that, the levels that show are not necessarily showing all the way across the width of every piece of space. So if we cut this in here, we can see, hey, look, those levels are not going all the way past P3 and everything like that. So all I'm going to do, drag them all the way over there, and now I'm set with those. Now, we do need to find our levels, and again, let's make sure that our levels line up between structural and architectural. And if you remember in the first video, we saw that this one, I think, showed our level P2 all the way up and everything like that. And then let's find architectural and do the same thing. I think we said that this one looked like it had all of that information. So let's just do quick comparisons here. So P2 is at 78.4, P1 is at 88. 78.4, 88 for P2 and P1. Level 1 is at 100, and level 1 should be at 100. Level 2, 110'8". Level 2, 110'8". Level 3, 121.4. Level 3, 121.4. Level 4, 132. And level 4, 132. Okay, so all we got to do, put in those numbers. 132, level 3, 121.4. 121-4. And usually I find that if I make a mistake or it gives me some error, I just say, okay, escape. Maybe I entered something in wrong and I'll try it again. Level 2, 110'8". 110-8. And level 1 should be at 100. And then we're going to copy these down for level P2 and P1. P2 is 88 feet, so we're going to copy that down 12. Or sorry, P1 is at 88 feet, so we're going to copy this down 12 feet. And we're going to call this level P1. P1. And then level P2 is at 78.4. 78.4 would be down 9'8", right? 78.4. Now, if you notice, these grids are not actually pulled all the way down. And what will end up happening is if we create a plan view for level P1, if we go to view, plan views, say a structural plan for level P1, you can see none of those grids are showing up, right? So what we can do now is, okay, so all these grids along this direction are not showing up. If we just drag them down, guess what? Now those will show up, but the horizontal ones aren't showing up now either, or yet. So we just got to do same thing. Check that out. Look, we've got all of our grids. So now we've got all of our grids, all of our levels, and we are ready to start getting into modeling.